Good afternoon. My name is Kateryna Odarchenko, and today we have exciting journey to analyzing of political archetypes and also how we can use archetype theory in your business purposes. So, for example, for your business, for your branding, for your informational campaign, and so on and so forth. And I represent SIC Group Company. We work in 3 regions. We work in Central Asia, in Eastern Europe, and in the United States on election campaigns. And my basic region is Eastern Europe and Central Asia. So I lead more than 30 campaigns there, from like local level till presidential level, and also we create several new political forces and consult also some new movements, which I hope in future they also will be new political forces. So I'm 10 years in this business, in political management business, and I will share some knowledge with you to create additional opportunity for political managers, for young generation of political managers, and also share my knowledge to young candidates who wanted to be change makers and can use, this algorithm to be successful in that. So I have a short presentation which I will share with you, and if you are not with us online, you also can see all these materials on our YouTube channel, SIC Group, and we also have social media, SIC Group in social media and on YouTube. So if we see this man, I don't know, I think people from Vienna, Austria know him very well. So it's Mr. Jung. So if you was interested in or go to your therapist about some personal issues, or you read books of Mr. Jung, you know that originally theory of archetypes, it's was written by Carl Jung, and he used this knowledge in his analytical work and his work and his work as scientist. And you can read his book, obviously, in original. So today it's not like scientific lecture. I just show to you on this slide his categories and 12 archetype which he represents to society. So, like, in a sense, it's an archetype which like main aim on life of this person will be happy. It's to be happy, and it's very important to be trusting, and it's open-minded person. So also the hero, it's a goal to belong to something, to flowers its need to fight, and skill its courage. And please, you can see this slide and think about some person or some politician whom you understand in this archetype. And this theory was very useful for profession of psychotherapists and psychiatrics, using psychiatrics, and many theories was written after him. For example, Bolen wrote about woman's archetype, and this theory also used in analyzing of relationships on work, and so on and so forth. So anyway, this knowledge will be useful for you for any profession, but just as to understand basic what is archetype and why it's important to know about them and how we will use them, you can find on basic theory of 12 archetype by Carl Jung. So let's go to some interactive, because I like very practical one. Obviously, if we see anything like films, like brands, like communication models, I don't know, even your type of interests and hobbies, you see that it's also some like typical models. So you can see a romantic movie without lover, right? You can see a fantasy movie without magician. You can see any story without hero. Uh, that's why originally it's the same model which Jung proposed to us, but it's some categories of communication models. And here I give to you different examples of brands in no, you know, examples which understandable for American audience, because today we have mostly American audience on our Zoom. But you know that rebellion, if we talk about rebellion, we can talk about Virgin because they rebellion in their sectors. If we talk about hero in branding, it's obviously Nike, because all Nike communication, if you remember all their advertising, it's about hero, it's about aims, it's about heroes in sports sector, it's about athletes. If we talk about ruler, we obviously talk about like luxury brand like Mercedes or Hayat, or no, a lot of luxury brands work in this archetype. I will explore why. And if we talk about explorer, we can think about also some brands like Jeep, or some brands which sell goods for people who like trails and who like for example, some extreme sports. We also see in marketing a lot of innocent archetype, so like Dove, like a lot of cosmetic brands, and in for example, our part of team who are designers, it's mostly creator, yeah, like in innovative archetype. And but I will give now, I give you different examples, and now you can remember, for example, your perfect beauty brand. You can remember your you know, your understanding of people in movies. You can remember that magician is typical Gandalf. You can remember, for example, Mother Teresa as classical caregiver. You can remember Indiana Jones as, you know, classical explorer. But today we will talk about public policy and about personal brand and about brand for businessmen. So how I can use all this stuff in, you know, practical use, and how political managers originally use that. So about our work, it's completely understandable algorithm. So when we start working with client, for example, it's new politician, firstly we do with him like strategic session and first interview, and we understand all background of this person and values of this person. But obviously we from like first meetings can understand in what archetype this person will work. So mostly for politicians who are mans, it's will be ruler archetype, or it's can be also outlaw archetype if we talk about opposition, for example. Sometimes it can be sage archetype, but mostly it's ruler archetype. I will explain you also some difference between ruler archetype. In some authoritarian countries, it also can be warrior. But anyway, it's much it's more narrow system to understand, because mostly nobody will vote for politician who is innocent, you know, like so like Persephone, you know. But a lot of people will vote for outlaw or for hero or for ruler archetype. So in political team, some person can work in creator archetype. For example, person who work on some digitalization or on some reforms which connect with, you know, innovative sector, or be leader of like special industrial zone. So here these archetypes can be used. And on the next aspect, we take this archetype to political strategy. So we wrote this political strategy, and then we use this basic archetype to form image, like physical image of person. And also it's like work which have done with image makers, and we create like political brand. For example, if person needs to create campaign logo, or need to create a brand book for new political force. And also in texts, of course, because every archetype have different words which they use. For example, hero, it's these people can use some words as result, as like quick result, as win. And obviously, if we talk about creator, it's like some innovation stuff. If it's about explorer, it's to explore, yeah, to move and to explore. So it's also working with text, connect with this archetype. That's why it's very important, and even it's very important for women who go to public policy, because it's also more narrow choice in what archetype women can work. Also, second very important model for campaign managers, and also for people who work in branding, political storytelling. It's a basic model which called hero journey. If you still not explore that, I encourage you to read Joseph Campbell's book and Mr. Wagler's book. So mostly it's scientific work about analytical folklore of stories from different nations. And Mr. Campbell, if shortly, like Mr. Campbell found the same aspects, same aspects for typical hero's journey. And I give to you some different visualization of this hero journey, but mainly it's I also give to you original position from Campbell's book, which like you can see Campbell's model. So typically it looks like ordinary person who live ordinary life, live his life. It can be no, for example, for princess, it's ordinary life to be a princess originally. And then princess decides to fight with, I don't know, unfair judges. And I will give you, okay, I will give you as an example on a political way. So one person who is businessman live his ordinary life and do his business in legal field. So he have law firm. Nothing interesting. He have good education. He have good family, good team. He earn some good income, pay his taxes, and play soccer in free time with his kids. So nothing interesting for voter. But on one period of time, for example, he see unfair situation with elderly, so with his friend grandmother who live in the village. And so he sees some motive to do something more, and it's his point of moving from known world to unknown world. So to became a politician originally. In movies, it's more understandable, because in movies, like hero meet some wise person or magician who said, "Oh, you are Harry Potter, you're not originally man. So in films, you can see more pure essence of this model, but originally in political storytelling, we use the same. And then originally he found mentor, for example, some old politician who, I don't know, famous anti-corruption fighter, but now retired. Or he read some book, and then he started to fight with mob groups who corrupt judges, and the judges, for example, do pressure to elder people in villages. So it can be typical stories for candidates from Eastern Europe, from Africa, or for example, if we talk about American candidates, it can be the same story about, for example, huge bill for medical care for elder people. So the same model. And we will give this example a little later also to you. So, and then this person usually do something and it's not successful. So it's point of abyss, death and return. So it's when person go to court, but he can't win some case. And then he try one more time, so find more energy to do, and then he won, for example, some court, or he pushed some, I don't know, like case, if we talk about lawyer, to Supreme Court. So then he won this court and create a new practice and return as a hero. So pretty the same model Vogler proposed to us, but basically it's model of challenging, which form this politician as a hero. Yeah. So originally, Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, it was the same hero journey. So here we can see one more time that Obama was also in the same archetype of hero, like Nike. And here you can see the same on an example of Affordable Care Act, the same journey for healthcare for all people. So pretty the same model of challenging movement. So what about business? Can I use this model in business? For sure. So I give to you example of some examples from political field, which I mostly work in, but in branding or in personal brand, it's pretty the same. And if you work in consulting, or you work as a lawyer, or you work as famous architect, or you obviously need to work on this personal brand. So it must be in your plan. And even obviously, if you lead big corporation like Bill Gates or like Oprah Winfrey or Jeff Bezos, you also need to have your archetype. So sometimes it's obvious, like Steve Jobs, and sometimes it's like not obvious. If we talk about Bill Gates, so he can be in different archetype. And as you can see, like Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates work pretty in the same sector, but they have completely different archetypes. And if you think about like also Meta or like Facebook, which is part of Meta, and also if we think about Microsoft, it's completely different archetypes of brand as well. But for example, Richard Branson personal archetype and Virgin archetype of brand, it's pretty the same. You can like ask me, okay, Kate, why you give us so different names for the same archetype? So on one example, you give me name of like archetype of hero. On the next slide, you find new archetype of strategist, which completely different. And if we talk about public policy, we talk about different worlds. Yes, it's a good question. So first of all, we can see also this slide. Maybe you travel to Greece or see Greece Pantheon. So it's basically the same archetypes for Greek gods and demigods, and you see the same characteristics. So if we will talk about ruler, it's Zeus. If we talk about emotional ruler, it's Poseidon. If we talk about wise person or sage, it's Athena. If we talk about, for example, warrior, it's Ares. So if we talk about also like lover, it's Apollo. It's the same, and Aphrodite, it's also lover archetype. So, but it's pretty the same if we think about Aphrodite or we think about Marilyn Monroe. So it's perfectly the same characteristic of person, but with different roles. So I'm work with like Greece archetype, because for politicians from Europe it's like more understandable. But one more time, we understand number of characteristics. We always understand who in our, I don't know, high school, office, non-profits, it's a ruler, and who is Ares, you know. If you have war in country, obviously some people it's classical Ares. If we talk about women leadership, it's Athena in 50%. So let's look also to American archetypes. I saw this interesting article on political website and give some their graphics to you. I think it's pretty funny and it's pretty, you know, good design work. So they also form archetype for voter and no party member for Democrats and Republicans. So it's also example, no, maybe not all international audience see, but like it's example of resistance mom. It's like people who also taken part in Women's March, which was when Trump was elected, and many Trump local candidates. It's also quite a good picture, also with type of image and some other archetype which they publish in their article. So you can see this article about Walter's archetype on political.com. So, what about women? So in United States, it's not so deep problem, but in Eastern Europe, in Africa, it's a lot of problems when you want to be elected to office and you are female. I don't talk about other genders, which like more deep problems, but for women, it's a lot of problem and a lot of challenges. I have some lectures about that, which based on tools, focus groups, and benchmark research. If you're interested in, you can find of SIC Group SIC Group this information. But what we see on this picture, we can see that mostly women who work in public policy, they originally work in archetype of hero, of ruler, or if you talk about Greece pantheon, it's Athena. So like wisdom, in wisdom archetype, or in rebellion archetype, or like about Artemis, so like woman's warrior, but not warrior, classical warrior, like resistance. So resistance is like good word from this political visualization. And also, if we talk about countries which have a lot of stereotypes about women's leadership, we see how important to use this archetype in visualization. So if we talk about and not every image maker work, it's good work and it's connected with archetype. So that's why mostly the basic photo material and the basic lookbooks for some TV shows and broadcast must be worked with political manager, image maker, and good photographer. Here you can see on the right hand, it's Yulia Tymoshenko in wisdom archetype, in Athena archetype. So it's typical visualization of this archetype. You see, it even looks like Athena if you Google the statue from Greece. And also second sub-archetype or image, it's motherland. So Demetra, it's like maternity issues, yeah, and all this hair like motherland. So it's a little deeper issues, but I show you these examples to understand. But one more time, Angela Merkel, for example, have good archetype of a ruler, but sometimes her image makers also work not so well. And you can see that sometimes in examples in every country. So here also big difference between Vladimir Zelensky archetype as ever man, as average person. From the beginning, and originally he when he take part in election campaign, he mostly wear like not business suits. And also he's completely different archetype when war started. So it's hero, it's hero plus warrior. So it's completely different, and it's completely different visualization also. If we talk about political archetypes of Republicans, I show you this example, and it was very, strong on the last Republican debates, where almost all people wear the same clothes, like a ruler archetype of Trump. Trump is classical ruler archetype. And they're different between ruler archetype of Biden. So Biden Trump like ruler, classical ruler, and Biden is like emotional ruler and wise man, which completely different. Good example of Vice President Harris. So on the left hand, you see classical archetype also of Athena. So as you can see, pretty the same, Ukrainian example and American example. So you can see in different culture, it's pretty the same visualization of this example. And on right hand, you see also example of how we can work with colors. So, of course, if we talk about purity, which is important for every politician to be pure, to be honest, it's white color, or beige color. It's pretty good, and also archetype of wise person. Here, I give you last example of also how you can show this archetype, not only through like strategy and basic photo, but also through like your Instagram communication model or articles. So here Nancy Pelosi in archetype of caregiver, so which work together with archetype of caregiver in campaign of additional funding of public school, or campaign of additional funding of Medicare, Medicaid programs. So it's the same archetype. So originally, for example, additional funding of public schools, it's caregiver archetype. So and additional funding of some medical services or some other social services, it's also archetype of caregiver. And here through this photo, I show to you how you can use this archetype also through all communication. And it's the same world, and it's the same articles, and it's the same visualization. So originally this photo show you that Nancy Pelosi, she's caregiver. So it's the matter archetype if we are talking about Greek pantheon. So I hope that this lecture was interesting for you and useful for you. So here it's I on the same archetype, and if you want to know more about campaign management, about archetypes, about how you can use archetype, please text me, Kateryna Odarchenko, or our SIC Group company. We will be happy also do this work for you, like image making work, like strategy making work, and also other campaign management work. So one more time, please think now about archetypes and your role model. Then you also can think about archetype of your political affiliation, of your political party, or of your business. And after that, you also can see all tools of your communication. Do you bring this archetype to all tools of your communication, like to your speeches, to your texts on websites, to your social media, to your visualization, and so on and so forth. And it will be tremendous big success if your archetype will compare with needness of your voter or of your customers if we're talking about business. So hope it was useful for you. See you next time, and we as SIC Group will be happy to communicate with you and to bring good result in your political or business career. Take care. My name is Kateryna Odarchenko, and see you on the next lectures or in person here in Washington, D.C. Bye-bye.